What's up guys, PDC here for the recording of my black and white game versus Ojama for the Smogon Tour playoffs, top 16. I'm combining black and white and X and Y in one video just to say, because this game was rather quick. We're going to start off with a team preview, which I'm using BKC's Reuniclus team. It's an interesting team. It's an interesting sand balanced team. It has some cool sets. This team particularly has some different Pokemon than has some different sets than the standard version of the team. If just looking at the matchup, I'm already can tell that my team. I was expecting Ojama to use something completely different, and he decided to use Rain Offense, which absolutely steamrolls me. He has Thunderous, he has Keldeo. I probably should have been a little better on my team choice, but we're gonna go ahead and start the game, and I'm gonna lead out with my Disintegration, my Garchomp, which is a great album by The Cure, and he's going to lead out with his Politoed. Now, I expect this Toad to be Scarf, so I'm going to switch into the only thing I can switch in, my Gastrodon, my only Shallow, and he's going to hit me with a Blizzard, and he's going to freeze me. This really is not a big deal, as I am packing Scald, and although Blizzard's a weird move, I really don't care because I can just Scald my way out of this, and I know he's not staying in, and I expect him to be Scarf at this point. So I'm just going to go off for a free Scald. Hopefully I get a burn. I do get a crit, but there is no burn on the first time of contact. Sadly, because you're gonna see, I would have needed to hacks him a lot this game. Immediately, I call back my Gastrodon because obviously I do not want my only thing actually capable of beating his team, or switching in the half of it getting damaged or anything like that, just because I want to get a stupid burn. I'm gonna go down to my Reuniclus, which is my Infamous, and I'm gonna go ahead and go for the Calm Mind. Now I see Politoed, and I still think this is a Scarf Encore version, so I'm gonna actually switch out here. This was my thinking behind this. I thought he was Scarf, but it turns out, as we'll see in the coming turns, that Ojama not only predicts this, me going to Garchomp to get the rocks, he just destroys me. He gets my Garchomp and he kills it. I'm like, oh shit, that was a really good play by him. And now I have to go to my Gastrodon. But as you're going to see, this Politoed is actually it could be a leftovers, it could be anything like that. I'm going to Scald here, and as you're going to see, it does, nothing, and I'm taking toxic damage, and it is probably maybe a Chesto Resto set or something like that. And Gastrodon is toxic, and I'm looking at this game and I'm like, oh shit, this is not good at all. The only way I can accomplish this win is if I get a Reuniclus sweep, and that's going to be incredibly hard. So I'm going to go ahead and Scald this Ferrothorn again, and at this point I kind of just gave up. I wanted to get this thing burnt, and I do get the burn finally, but it's not like it really matters, because like I said, there's almost nothing I can do at this point to win. I'm looking at this team matchup, and I'm like, I'm absolutely fucked. There's no way I'm going to be able to pull this through. So I switch out my Gastrodon, which is absolutely screwed at this point. Keldeo pretty much destroys me. And I go to my Reuniclus. Ojama spikes for a third time, so my team is under pressure from spikes now, and Gastrodon is essentially screwed. And any dream of it countering Thunderous or Keldeo or even Politoed at this point is completely destroyed. He's going to go out to his Toad here, and I am going to go for the Calm Mind, and it turns out this Politoed is extremely annoying for my team. It has Hypnosis, and there's a chance if he did not hit Hypnosis for a couple turns, I believe I Calm Minded there. If I get up to like +3, because this is actually Life Orb Reuniclus I'm running, the chance of me winning went way up, because Reuniclus actually really bent his team, and if I got to like +3, I don't know how much a +3 Side Shock does to Garchomp, but I'm going to assume it does a pretty heavy amount. He's going to Swords Dance there, and I'm just asleep here. The little fetus is sleeping, and I know I'm screwed. I know that there's no way I'm winning this game. I go out to my Kangar, and he goes for the rock, so Ojama's just flexing his power. He knows he can sword his end rock on me. He starts to switch out. Now he's got full hazards on my side of the field, and I just decided to go for the protect. I wanted to see what he was going to have, Dragon Claw or Outrage or something like that, but it doesn't matter, because he just Scarf Thunders my team to oblivion, and we're going to see the ending of this game pretty quick. I'm going to speed this up, because we all know what happens. I get absolutely obliterated in this game. The matchup was terrible. I really had no way to win, and if I made a better team choice, this could have been more of a fight. I actually had a team that I think would have worked out rather nice. It even has Giga Drain, Tentacruel, but I would have really wish I had selected a better team in that case, but I didn't. So that was the black and white game, and now we're gonna go to a more competitive game. Like I said, a more competitive game, the X and Y game. I'm using a balanced team, wow, big surprise, by TDK, and Ojama's using an interesting team. I believe later he told me it was by Remedy. It is Drag, Mag, or Altaria Mag, plus Weavile, and Keldeo, and Lando, and Garchomp. So it's a pretty common strat now for people to use that. It's actually a really threatening team archetype. And it usually beats out just stuff like Ferrothorn Balance, but I'm not using that today. I'm using a different type of balance. So we're going to start the video out right away. Like I said, I don't want this to be too long, because I am combining both ORAS and Black and White in the same video. I just decided to Icy Wind right off the bat on the Garchomp, and as he go ahead and decides to go for the Swords Dance, and from turn 1, I already have the advantage. He went for the dance, and I got the Icy Wind off, and I really threatened him out there. And I'm just going to go for probably the Icy Wind again, as I really don't see any downside to it. And Magnezone is going to be slowed down. Magnezone is pretty much useless in this game. It can work to switch into Tornadus T and Clefable, but it's not going to be trapping anything, and it really does not like switching into much at all, because the other 4 members of the team do decent amount of damage to it. I just decided to go to my Gliscor here, maybe to activate the poison, and he's slowed down, and I don't really think these things are threatening Gliscor much, especially considering none of them carry HPIs. I'm just going to Earthquake it, and he's just going to let it die. I was really excited when I saw he just let the thing drop, but at first I was like, why do you do that? But he really didn't have another option or a better Pokemon to go to. Now I decided to call my Gliscor back, Gliscor, I don't know, I call different things, and go out to my Heatran here, expecting an Icicle Crash, which he does go for, and it does basically nothing to Heatran, but what I'm worried about is him packing a low kick. Now, he does decide to call his Weavile back. He has a decent enough switch into Heatran in both Keldeo and Garchomp, but decides to go to his Landorus, probably for the Stealth Rock trade, because this Landorus could either be Stealth Rock, or it could be Rock Polish, or it could be Scarf, or Garchomp could be Stealth Rock SD, but you never really know. So I'm going to switch up to my Heatran. Keeping it in there was not really an option anyway, and I go to my Gliscor. And it turns out this is actually Stealth Rock Landorus Therian, which doesn't threaten Gliscor much, because I highly doubt it is carrying anything like SD. Now I make a mistake here, and for some reason I decide to go for a Swords Dance. In reality, I should have went for a knockoff. You'll see how the extra damage there might have helped me out later. But he's going to go out to his Keldeo here, and obviously that's going to threaten me out, and judging how it takes no leftovers recovery, I can only assume that this is indeed a Choice Specs Keldeo. Now, the reason I switched into Tornadus T here is, 1, I gain incredible momentum with just a Hurricane, and 2, I was more afraid of something like a Weavile, but then again, I guess it didn't make much sense that he could have pursued it anyway, so in that retrospect, I guess maybe switching in Starmie there would have been a bit better. Probably would have been, but then again, if I did switch in Starmie, that technically let Altaria set up, but then again, I also had T-Wave Starmie, so I don't really know. This might have been a bit of a misplay for me. I could have probably afforded to go me there, but I didn't, so that was maybe a bit of a blunder on my part. But as you're going to see, I miss my Hurricane, and that is absolutely atrocious for me. If only I had knockoff, then maybe this sequence would not have mattered, and I still would have ended up killing the Landorus Therian, and I would not have lost any momentum there, but sadly I did end up losing quite a bit of momentum, and that really blows. I did not want to lose that. Now, I decided to go into my Alakazam here, and this is really where you'll see me mess up or choke, although the choke was not apparent when I first did it. I decided to Mega this, so I'm the fastest thing on this on the field. I outspeed Weavile, I outspeed Keldeo, everything, and I pretty much kill this entire team too, except for Altaria, which can tank a Psychic. Now, the correct move, in retrospect, would have been to Psychic, and that would have allowed Clefable to win, or would have allowed Gliscor to win, or Heatran, or a combination of those Pokemon to win. But I didn't see that at the time. You see, this Altaria is a very threatening Pokemon. It outright destroys my team. That is a problem, and I decided to sack Clefable to basically do nothing, and that was a bad move. That was a bad move on my part. I should have probably went for the Psychic, and then I should have followed it up with a Gliscor, because my Gliscor was pretty fast. If I went for Psychic, I followed up with Gliscor, then I could have went to my Starmie, but even then, it kind of comes down to mind games, depending on if he has Pursuit or Swords Dance or not. Which is why it was, I think it was kind of an odd choke, really. It was a choke forced by a weakness, and although I do understand I should have Psychic there, I don't think it was that horrible of a choke. It was a bit of a misplay, a misunderstanding at the time. So I go ahead and T-Wave the Altaria, and this is really the only hope I have. I go out to my Gliscor here, and he does go for the second Dragon Dance, and I'm not liking this at all. I really do not have much of an option here. I'm hoping he is not Heal Bell or something like Refresh, and I go for the Ice Fang, and it turns out he gets paralyzed. So now I get one more para, and this game is pretty much mine, because then Alakazam wins. Now I go for the Swords Dance here. Like I said, I should have Ice Fanged again for the flinch chance, but he goes for the Refresh, and that is not good at all. That's horrible. That is absolutely atrocious for me. He now is an Altaria at +2, and I can't paralyze it again. I can't outspeed it. The only way for me to beat this thing is Heatran, and I don't have Taunt or Flash Cannon. Thanks, TDK. No, but I really don't have much of a way to touch this thing. And if I had Taunt plus Toxic, I could have probably managed to win this game, but I wasn't. So, as you can see, this ended up kind of, this put me in a hairy situation. Now I have to rely on special defense drops from Earth Power, but as you will see, I don't get those special defense drops, and I really, really needed them. The only way for me to win this game would have been to get special defense drops, and to somehow get this thing to switch out so Alakazam would sweep. This does not happen. Sadly, I cannot manage to put this thing into range where I can get enough special defense drops. If I got those special defense drops, or I was carrying Flash Cannon or Taunt instead of Earth Power, which I should have been considering how weak I was to Clefable, then I could have won this game. But as you'll see, that does not work out. And it basically ends up with me struggling, trying behind the screen, as I cannot get one special defense drop. Well, he got a nice Hurricane Miss, which killed my momentum, and I missed Toxic twice, which really doesn't mean all that much. Refreshes PP outstalls me anyway. And that is essentially the game. I hope for one last special defense drop here, or maybe another one as he roosts, but as you'll see, I don't get them. And if I did, maybe the game could have ended differently. Maybe I could have won this game, but as you'll be able to see, I pretty much get destroyed by a return. So winning this game is essentially an incapability at this point, and I just get my ass swept by Altaria, which is why I said Psychic there would have been the smarter move, probably, although then again it would have came down to some weird plays, but that was pretty much it. And Altaria is incredibly amazing at what it does. Fuck up balance, somehow, or fuck up teams which don't have a counter for it. I wish I packed a better counter. I wish I had something like Flash Cannon. Even Flash Cannon would have worked, but alas. Good game, Ojama. Good games. And that was my Smogon Tour run for Season 19. I placed number 1 in standings with, I believe, a record-breaking points record. I hit 56. That's behind Blue, but Blue's a cheater, as we all know. So, I guess that record's kind of disqualified. But yeah, thank you guys for watching and or watching me get destroyed the final 2 games, and hope you guys will enjoy my content. I'm gonna be uploading some live soon at the top of the ladder, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.